Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Three, two, hot.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the final regular season races of the Esports Racing League Summer Tour, presented by Spec Racer Sports, Alliance Autosport, and Grassroots Motorsports Magazine here on Apex Racing TV. Over the past 8 weeks, we've endeavored to bring you some of the best racing in 3 different classes known to club racers here in the United States: Spec Miata, Spec Racer Ford, and Formula 4. And we hope to do that again tonight. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and I'm joined by Dennis Branch in the commentary booth. And to wrap up our 6th regular season, we head to the final resting place of the Confederacy and the birthplace of Wendell Scott, the first African-American NASCAR driver, as well as the home of the SCCA's National Championship runoffs, both this year and next. Hosting its first race, the SCCA National Sports Car Championship in 1957, but then sitting idle from 1974 to early 2000, tonight's venue is now a veritable country club for race cars and the track that Paul Newman called heaven on earth. Tonight, our racers will attack all 17 turns and 3.27 miles, got to get that extra 100th in, of Virginia International Raceway in beautiful Danville, Virginia. So as we do each week, tonight we'll feature 2 20-minute sprint races, and first up will be our Formula 4 drivers, and then Spec Miata will take to the track, with each group battling for supremacy in 20-minute sprint races. And so, Dennis, welcome to beautiful VIR and our last regular season outing before next week's runoffs.
Thank you, Greg. Good to be here. We got open wheelers, so you know I'm happy about that. Looking forward to a good race.
Yeah, we were just talking about your exploits in the 301 Mercedes
on the platform. It was so bad.
We won't tell, but it can't be any worse than I would do doing these cars right now, right here. So as we join the action now, we do have our drivers out on course. We are 6 minutes into a 15-minute open qualifying session for our Formula 4 drivers. This will be their 6th and final race of this season. And let's quickly, while our drivers, and we only have 11 of the drivers now having set times about half the field. Let's do this. Let's quickly look back to last week's outing at Sonoma Raceway for race number 5. In the Formula 4 Championship, where we had Caleb Patry, Morgan Burkhardt on the front row. We had Deacon Greenfield with a great qualifying session, lining up right next to Theo Moriescu on row number 2, and then Giancarlo Schooler and Beans Forster starting out on row number 3. Although Beans Forster did not make the grid, might have had some equipment issues, also did not make the race. And it looked like a great start with the field fanning out going into turn 1 on that very first lap as the green flag came out. But as they rose up that 120-foot hill up to turn number 2, Tom Pendergrass, he got into the right rear wheel of Theo Moriescu, and then when he went to correct, he got into Kyle Vallejos, and that little action there collected Stevie Ray, John Vogel, Josh Justice, as well as Jordy Fike, and the only driver in that pack to come out unscathed was actually Tom Pendergrass. And with that action and with 7 cars off in the sandy grass and dirt at Sonoma on that very first lap, we had our pole sitter, Caleb Patry, as well as Morgan Burkhardt, step away from the rest of the field and almost immediately opened up a 3.5-second advantage over Deacon Greenfield and Tom Pendergrass, who managed to keep the car in 4th place. But on lap number 4, only 5 minutes into the race, Morgan Burkhardt, who was hot on the heels of Caleb Patry, he spun coming over the crest of turn 3A, and that's all she wrote as Caleb Patry went on to a commanding win, 7 seconds up on Morgan Burkhardt. And so Caleb Patry took the win with Burkhardt finishing 2nd. Greenfield finished in 3rd with Pendergrass in 4th. Josh Justice came home in 5th with John Vogel finishing back in 6th. And so if we take a look at the championship standings now in Formula 4, and this being the last race of the regular season, there are still some positions here that are up for grabs, but with a firm handle on this championship now, Morgan Burkhardt with 118 points, and that if I do my math, that is 26 points up on Caleb Patry, who has 92, and that should put the championship just out of reach of our season 5 champion, Caleb, championship with 76 points, and then a tie for 5th right now with Deacon Greenfield and Jordy Fike, who are both sitting at 64 points. And so that's how things set right now coming into this final race of the regular season. And if we take a look at the timing pylon there on the left-hand side, we've got Morgan Burkhardt, driver of the number 40 machine, the Allsports Racer machine. He is your provisional pole sitter right now with a fast time of 1:48.676, almost a quarter of a second up on Caleb Patry, last week's winner in the number 198 machine. Justin Huffman, not Jameson, but his father, Justin Huffman, a Formula Car driver in real life, as they say. Well, he goes sliding off track, and that lap won't count. But Justin Huffman, currently your 3rd, rejoining us after some time away. He usually puts in at least 1 or 2 weeks with us, is Celine Roland, driver of the number 87 machine, or 087 machine, recently of the Idemitsu MX5 Cup. And race winner in the MX5 Cup. Great to see him back here with us. Owen Watts, Deacon Greenfield running 5th and 6th, and I think we just saw a driver go flying off track. I think that was over at South Bend, and I believe that was Charles Vicar, or probably that was Wayne Buttermore, who went flying off the track there. As we take a look at some drivers having some issues, we still have a few folks that have not been able to put in qualifying times as of yet. Charles Vaccaro, Wayne Buttermore, Andrew Benna, and Russ Lundberg have not managed to put in a flying lap that has not been disqualified here, as we now have only what Dennis, about again, my math, about 3.5 minutes remaining here in qualifying.
Yeah, they've fortunately they get to finish the lap that they've already started if they've crossed the line at the checker. But yeah, time's running out. It's a big track. It looks like they're struggling out there. I don't know. Let's take a look at the temperature, because it's not that. It's not that hot. No, But I see people going off left and right.
Yeah, but you can see their track temperature only 83 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will tell you that based on when VIR was scanned. It was not the highest grip track surface at that point. It has been
asphalt that had been around.
Yeah, it had been around a while. The track had opened up in 2000, and I believe VIR was scanned somewhere around 2009, 2010. So the pavement had been around. It was repaved back in 2015, but again after the scan. And so, Dennis, here, I guess one of the challenges that the drivers have in setting up these Formula 4 cars, obviously, is going to be that trade-off between mechanical grip and also, what is going to work for the back straight here at VIR is very long. It's also uphill, but there are some very technical areas here as well where you want to maximize that aerodynamic downforce. For example, right at the very end of that back straight, over down at the roller coaster, but also, South Bend. Up once you come out of the S's over at turn 10, that big, it's not that much of a sweeping left-hander, but there's not a lot of exit room there other than through the grass and downhill if you can't make the car stick. And there it is. Yeah,
to be honest, I haven't driven the F4 car, so I don't know it that well. Like we used to have Tyler in here in the booth, and he's really versed in this car. But it's like you said, it's a trade-off. Is it you're going to go for top-end speed up here where we're watching Celine coming up the hill, or are you going to go for full downforce? At a track like this is a pretty fast-flowing track. I got to imagine it's a compromise
somewhere
to the middle.
Right in the middle.
It would have to be. Because you can't afford to just be a sitting duck on that back straight.
No, absolutely not. And we'll see that a little bit later as our second race is Spec Miata, and I guarantee you will see a lot of sitting ducks at the end of that at the end of that back straight going into the roller coaster at 14 here as time and qualifying now starting to wind down here. Only about 20 seconds remaining as Burkhardt and Patry are both on track trying to improve their times. Caleb Patry has whittled away just a little bit at Burkhardt's provisional pole time, only about 1800ths of a second off. He's knocked about 700ths off, but you can see here, Dennis, how much of a problem drivers are having getting out of Oak Tree. Maybe, and I don't know if it's a question of getting on the throttle maybe a little bit too early, but we were seeing this in some of the other corners as well, coming through turn 3 as well. It appears with these lower ambient air and lower track temps, some drivers are having some trouble getting heat in these rear tires.
Yeah, and these smaller Formula cars are so stiffly sprung. They're really low to the ground. The suspension travel is almost nil. Mechanical grip is tough to come by.
All right, so checkered flag is now out on the session, and drivers are setting their final flying laps. Caleb Patry just now coming across the line. We'll see if he can improve. And given his exit stage left, I'm thinking maybe not.
He did improve. It wasn't enough. He's still
it wasn't enough. He ran a 1:49.42 actually that last time by. Morgan Burkhardt comes across the stripe, and he does not improve on his provisional pole time, so he's going to sit at that 1:48.68. And I think Andrew Benna now, and he was I believe our last driver on course, and as we could see there, he went off, and so he's going to abort that lap. Let's see, I think we may have, and I'm trying to see if he's still on course, Ray Blethen in the number 15 machine. Of course, his brother Steven has been racing with us the last couple of weeks, and it looks like Ray is on his last flying lap there in the number 15 machine. And we'll see if he can improve from 11th. Looking to improve on a 1:51.21, and he does improve. However, he does not get up to the 1:51.06 of Andrew Benna. So Ray Blethen is going to hold station in 11th. And good to see Ray here with us this evening. I've been racing with Ray for a number of years in another another league. And if we only had the Jettas here for Ray and for Celine and for a couple of other folks.
Oh,
for Morgan.
no, the Jetta. Oh,
I'm gonna have to talk to Stevie Ray and see if we can bring back the front wheel drive Jettas here.
No, I'm sorry. That's a sin.
We can always get YouTube to play back at 1.5 times the regular speed. Remember that, guys. All right, so looks like all of our drivers are in. We'll have the starting grid here in just a moment, and actually, here we go. Let's bring up the starting grid. On pole tonight is going to be Morgan Burkhardt from All Sports Racing, driving the number 40 machine with a pole time 1:48.676, 1800ths of a second up on his teammate, and last week's winner Caleb Patry driving the 198 machine. Owen Watts, and I believe that this is Owen's first time racing with us here in the Ray Esports Racing League, representing Delta Sport, driving the number 14 machine. He's going to start third with Justin Huffman in the 223 machine, starting right next to him on the outside of row number 2. Celine Roland will start fifth in the 087 machine with Giancarlo Schooler from Hardpoint by Delta Sport. He is starting in 6th this evening. Deacon Greenfield, last week's third place finisher. He's going to start 7th tonight with John Vogel right next to him in 8th. Then we've got Kyle Vallejos and Andrew Benna. They will make up row number 5. Ray Blethen tonight in the number 15 machine will start right next to Jordy Fike, making up row number 6. And then starting 13th, and I've got to I think last week I said that Josh was from California and he called Sonoma one of his home tracks. My mistake. Josh is out of Texas, but a Spec Racer Ford racer, and he will start 13th tonight in the number 99 machine with Charles Vaccaro right next to him in the 221. Stephen Blethen starting 15th tonight in the 150 car with John Casey, coming off a win in another series last night, driving the number 78 machine for 046 Racing. He's going to start 16th tonight. Then we've got Mark Sherman and Joaquin Effinger making up row number 8, and then Wayne Buttermore and Russ Lundberg starting 19th and 20th this evening. And so, Dennis, real quick, let's talk about our sponsor for tonight's first race, as the drivers are now out on their pace lap, back behind the pace car here. And our sponsor for tonight's first race is Alliance Autosport. You can see their logo up in the top right-hand corner of your screen. They're based in Columbus, Ohio, and have found success both at the club and professional levels, garnering multiple championships, including 8 SCCA National Championships, 3 SCCA Pro Racing Championships, as well as a USF 2000 National Class Championship. Alliance Autosport's team members are dedicated, hardworking, and they know what it takes to win. Alliance is SCCA Enterprises Great Lakes Division customer service representative for Formula Enterprises 2 and Spec Racer Ford 3, and their services include arrive and drive packages for Surf, for Formula Enterprises 2, as well as for Trans Am 2. They offer customer car prep, trackside support, transportation, storage, part sales, data analysis, hospitality, as well as driver coaching and development. To join Alliance Autosport on the winning track, check them out at allianceautosport.com. So, Dennis, I thought the pace lap was going to be a lot shorter than that. They're only heading up through the
this is one of the older ones. Yeah, they didn't put in a short pace lap start point, so it's the whole track. It's Road America almost, I tell you what.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's up to Road America. They start off at turn 14, but you can see here as the drivers are coming through South Bend, and they roll down that hill, and almost as quickly as they come down, they get that compression, and they start coming right back up to turns 11 and 12. 12 being Oak Tree, and of course this track scanned long before the Oak Tree was beset by a big strike of lightning, and unfortunately the Oak Tree itself is no longer, which has really changed the complexion of that turn mightily. But the son of Oak Tree and the sons and daughters of Oak Tree do live on, growing on the property. And hopefully at some point we'll see its return. You know, maybe in the next 30 years.
When it is
big enough. Yeah. But I mean, it really opened things up, because now, Dennis, you can, in real life, when you come out of turn 11, you can just start spinning your head as much as the Hans device will allow, and you can track all the way through that corner where
straight
it used
up to
be.
the apex. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah, I mean, it used to be, and you can see it here, you've got the guardrail which comes right up to the apex, you've got the tree there, and it was a blind entrance and a blind exit for you. And a lot of drivers very commonly went off driver's left, and maybe even to minimize that, when the track was repaved, they extended the curbing on the exit of the Oak Tree turn as well. So it's definitely made things much easier for the drivers, as the pace car now brings the field down through Hog Pen, through turn 17, onto the front straight. The pace car is now in the pit lane, or on the pit lane, pardon me, and Morgan Burkhardt has the field as they're coming down this longish front straight, waiting for the green flag, and there it is. Green flag is in the air. Burkhardt to drivers right, Patry to drivers left. You can see Justin Huffman in the 223 car trying to find a quick way around Patry. Gets on the brakes a little bit early as Owen Watts now in the number 14 machine takes over third place. Then Huffman, Celine Rollon in the 87 machine in fifth position. Giancarlo Schooler now in sixth, as most of the field now has gotten lined up as they go through turn 3, and they're going to come down to that left hook, that hard 90-degree turn, one of probably the slowest corner on the track here. Oh, and there is contact. John Vogel and Kyle Vallejos get together going into turn number 5, and this is the second week in a row that John Vogel, Dennis, has been caught up in a lap 1 incident. He falls all the way to the rear of the field.
Yeah, you could see that coming. They were going side by side since turn 1, and yeah, it was just a little bit of net code, but all it takes.
Here we go, and coming through South Bend now down the hill is our leader. It is Morgan Burkhardt, although we're a little bit further back in the field. We were just looking at Kyle Vallejos with Andrew Bennett and Jordy Fike behind him. As we jump now back to the leaders as they are, and we have a car off in the grass, and that is the 15 machine of Ray Bleffin. We'll see if he can get that car out. I think the F4 car is maybe a little bit more fragile than a Jetta, as he finds himself over at the outside of turns 11 and 12. As our leaders now come down through the roller coaster, and we see Celine Rollon now dropping back through the field, as he apparently had some issues at the top of the roller coaster, as did Stephen Bleffin, and they both go off at the top of turn 14 and do recover and are starting to come down. It looks like everybody's having trouble here as Giancarlo Schooler goes off at Hog Pen. And I have to sit on this, I think I have to tilt my head about
yeah, I did the same thing. I thought, wait, there's something's wrong. But they're going off left and right. Like I said, there doesn't seem to be a lot of grip out there.
Yeah, we saw this in qualifying, Dennis. I mean, the drivers had a lot of rear grip issues, and seemingly not a lot of traction there, and maybe also a combination of that and maybe brakes not being up to temperature as well.
Yeah, and it is these cars don't have tire warmers, and so first couple of laps it really does take that much time to get the tires up to temp.
All right, so if we reset the field now, we've got Morgan Burkhardt, Caleb Patry, and Owen Watts, your top 3. And they have now opened up almost a second and a half advantage on Justin Huffman in the red, white, and blue number 223 machine. Deacon Greenfield a couple seconds back from there. But right now it is a three-horse race with the Delta Sport drivers all in front.
Yeah, nice little group back here. Giancarlo and Jordy and Celine.
There we go, as of course Celine recovering from that off. I believe Vaccaro had the earlier off as well. Stephen Bleffin, you can see a little bit further back there in the light blue, but leading that field right now, Giancarlo Schooler. And now jumping to the inside is Celine Rollon. Oh, and Andrew Benna now having some issues up at the top of the roller coaster, and it looks like as Benna tried to get back underway, got into had a little bit of contact there. I believe that was with Rollon.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that was. We can take a look at it if you'd like.
Yeah, why don't we roll back? We'll take a look and see exactly what happened to Andrew Benna as Ray Bleffin now rejoins the fray after getting his car repaired. So let's take a look as they come up to the top of the roller coaster. We've got Benna over driver's left, and he comes across the number 35 machine.
Yeah, see, just a lazy spin, but
Vallejos.
that hit is what got him right there.
Yep, exactly. And so Vallejos was able to scoot through, and I think the driver of the car that got into contact with Ben, I think it was Charles Vaccaro in the 221. Well, no, it wasn't. No, actually, Vaccaro was the last one. It's the driver that just went off, and so that would be Celine Roland who had the issue, and it looks like Roland now maybe he had some damage from that contact.
Yeah,
with
he would have had.
Looks like.
Yeah, that looked like it would have broken a toe link or something because...
Yeah, and we saw there how he went off at Hog Pen Dennis, and he's now back in the pits.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. We'll see how he does. I'm sure he'll be back for the Spec Miata race a little bit later this evening.
Owen Watts is just ran the fastest lap of the race, 49.19. So,
and the question is, whereas we're watching Watts now as he gets around Caleb Patry and moves up into the lead, what happened to Morgan Burkhardt, who is now dropped back to 5th position, back behind Huffman and Greenfield?
Yeah, it looks like Morgan had a little off. Let's take a quick look. So he was leading.
Here we go as they come through NASCAR and come through turn 3, and Morgan, he got the curbing at 3. Tried to recover, and it looks like Patry got into the gearbox of Burkhardt, and we see there as Burkhardt went around Patry. I'm sure wasn't expecting that little wiggle at the end from Burkhardt as he was full speed coming through 3.
Yeah, at least Caleb's front wing is still a good nick, so he should be all right.
So that's going to move now Justin Huffman up into 3rd position, and Huffman now only about 2 seconds back. We'll see if he can close things down just a little bit. I think that that incident with Burkhardt brought our 2 leaders back to him, as we see Stephen Blethen now with a recovery coming through turn 4. And I think we just saw Charles Vaccaro.
That's a big one.
Yeah. That one is huge. That's Andrew Benna. Getting into the wall. Yeah, he's missing something. Getting into the wall there, and Vaccaro was sitting over on the side at the just off pace. Let's take a look and see what happened. As Benna was all crossed up coming out of left hook out of turn 4, and as he comes around through turn 5, you can see there he just he lost it just as we saw I think Vaccaro heading back to the pits.
Yeah, I might have spooked him a bit. I'm not sure. It just that was kind of weird. I think you might have seen Charles off the side and thought, I don't know what he thought, but
yeah,
he's done thinking now.
Yeah, exactly. He'll have some time to think about it now as he's trying to get some repairs done to that car. As we're now back with our leaders, as while we are looking at those replays, Caleb Patry has retaken the lead from Owen Watts. And indeed, I think looks like, well, Huffman is hanging steady right around 2 seconds or 2.1 seconds. And I think perhaps as we see this battle between Patry and Watts start to pick up, that may bring Huffman and also Greenfield, who looks as though Greenfield's maybe closing things down a little bit on Huffman, may bring them a little bit closer to our leaders.
Yeah, last lap by Huffman was basically dead on with Watts, so he's keeping pace. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I just noticed as the 2 drivers are swapping positions, Giancarlo Schooler and Morgan Burkhardt getting together, and it looks like the day is now likely done for both of those racers. Let's take a look and see what happened, as Burkhardt had been sitting back in 5th position, and Burkhardt was already off track and looks like turn 3.
And Schooler just
definitely an issue.
Yeah, he just went off in the same exact spot. And
yeah, I don't know I don't know what the story is there, but now both of those drivers, they can call it a day. Morgan Burkhardt again currently leading the championship here coming into the final round, and with him out of the race, I believe he will still be able to hold on to the championship. even if Caleb Patry is able to win today. Again, the points differential is at 26 points. And you get 25 points for the win. So that's going to put Patry pretty darn close.
Are there bonus points?
There are bonus points. You can get 3 bonus points if you have no incident points accumulated from iRacing, and if you have 1 incident, you can get 1 bonus point. But there, as far as I know, there are no bonus points for pole or for fastest lap or for leading a lap. So it's going to be up to how clean Patry runs. And I guess a question as to whether or not there was contact, whether or not Patry picked up an incident point when he got into the back of Burkhardt coming out of turn 3.
Yeah.
That could be the decider. Yep. Whether or not he is champion, or whether he is, whether he is champion, or whether if he's tied for champion, or whether he ends up 1 point back.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, his front wing was in perfect condition, so it might have just been a 0x contact.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Hopefully we'll be able to get the point standings prior to the end of the evening. We'll definitely check that as Owen Watts now moves over driver's left as they pass Madison Avenue, coming down the back straight here. Had the draft, and they're going to go side by side into turn 13 and onto the brakes. And Watts is going to get around Patry, goes the long way around turn 14 as they start to head down the roller coaster now, as we are a bit over halfway through this 20-minute Formula 4 race for Virginia International Raceway.
Yeah, I like this this new guy, Owen. He's got some pace. He's definitely on it, giving these guys a run. It's good to get new people in the mix.
All right, as they come now down into turn 1 with Patry late on the brakes, going the very long way around through turn 1 and turn 2. It looks like a fun little scrap these two.
I was just going to say the same thing. Really good scrap. Shame about Morgan that it wasn't a 3-way, but
watch here as they come down and make the run through Snake up to the uphill S's. And I still remember last season. And going off, that is the 35 machine of Kyle Vallejos, and it looks like the exact same place, Dennis, on the outside of turn 5. Let's take a look. Or not the outside, but over driver's right.
So he's fighting with Jordy Fike.
Yep, they come through turn 3. They come up to
same exact spot.
Well, that was actually
it's same spot as John Carlos Schooler and Morgan. They both went up to that spot.
Yeah, again, that left-hander, turn 4, otherwise known as left hook, a very, very slow corner. You need to turn in very late for that in order to be able to set yourself up for turn 5. And looks like he just outbraked himself the way the car snapped that way. And unfortunately for Vallejos, he now is also, it appears to, I don't want to say he's out with 7 minutes remaining. He may be able to get the car repaired and get back out on track, but impacts with the wall have beset a number of our drivers here in tonight's first race. And now Patry has the inside line going through turns 1 and 2. And you can see there a big difference, Dennis, is when Patry was to the outside the previous lap, he was able to still garner about a half a car length advantage over Watts, and Watts wasn't able to do the same this time around from the outside. So it definitely looks as though Patry may be a little bit more grip at this point. And we'll see here as they're coming up on, I believe that is Stephen Blethen up ahead of them, or at least it was.
That is, yeah.
So Stephen there having a little bit of an issue with South Bend, but he gets out of Oak Tree, and he's gonna, well, I think he'll pull over. He is considered on the line right now, and we'll see as Patry and Watts are going to likely use him for the draft, and we'll see if they pop to the inside going into 13. And as I suspected, Patry waited till almost the last moment, but Watts is able to get around Blethen as well as they start to head down the hill now with just about 5 minutes, a little bit over 5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, it looks like these. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was going to say a little bit further back in the field. I was looking. Wayne Buttermore and Joaquin Effinger. Surprise, surprise! That these two drivers would be so close. At least they were. And there's Effinger, who's had a good run of it, and perhaps more troublesome for him than a fight with Wayne Buttermore is Josh Justice. In the 99 machine, Justice, who started 13th this evening, now up into 9th position.
And look at this, side by side, the leaders going at it. Tell you what, this looks like a fun scrap. They know that they've got nobody to fight with, so they can they can just have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they've opened up the advantage on Justin Huffman to over 6 seconds. They have a lot of time to play with here.
Just going for a little ride to the grass. He's gathered it back up.
Although he did manage to get around Joaquin Effinger.
Yep.
There in the 700 machine. I think got it done up at the top of the roller coaster, and he's a little off at hog pen. Didn't seem to affect them all that much. Now, it was a great race last week. We were talking about that big incident over turn 2 last week on the first lap at Sonoma. But Wayne Buttermore, who is sitting up in 7th position right now, he is your hard charger. He's made up 12 positions now. Of course, a number of our drivers are no longer running at this point, which impacts that somewhat. But Buttermore found himself all the way up in 4th position at one point during last week's race. Ended up finishing back in 7th position, but I'm sure that he probably takes that as a win.
Yeah.
And I think that may have been his very best Formula 4 finish, and a very good run. And apparently Stephen Blethen, and we're watching, we've been watching Stephen. He's right back behind our leaders right now, a lap down, or at least he was. He was. Apparently Stephen as Owen Watts gets into a disabled car between 3 and 4, and it definitely looks like there is damage to Watts's car. He's going to pull off into the grass, and it looks like his session is done. Let's take a look at the replay here and see exactly what happened as they came through NASCAR, came through turn 3.
Goes right around, and it's blind, and he just can't jink to the left fast enough.
Yeah,
and who was that? That was the...
I think that was the 129 of Russ
Lumber, yep.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that for as good as Wayne Buttermore is running tonight, Lundberg at the time, I believe, was up 9 positions, and he now takes to the pits. An early ending for him. And, Dennis, it's unfortunate, but, Patry was able to cite that, I think, all the way through turn 3, and you saw that he turned in a little late. He exited driver's left, and I think Watts, just couldn't see through the wing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the disadvantage of being the second car in a group like that. You just don't know until you get there, and then what are you going to do?
Exactly. And so with 2 minutes remaining here from Virginia International Raceway in our first race of the evening, Caleb Patry, your leader in the number 198 machine, moved Justin Huffman up into second. He is about 10 seconds back. However, Deacon Greenfield, for the second week in a row, sitting firmly in 3rd position. As we look at this battle right now, this is Jordy Fike in the silver and burgundy number 09 machine. John Vogel right behind him in the number 4. They are battling for 4th position, just off the podium here tonight with likely, we'll have to see where our leaders are, but I believe that we are on our very last lap here at VIR.
Yeah, John is all over Jordy, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get him.
And there is our leader, Caleb Patry, all by himself. Just has to put his head down. And he's got about a half a lap remaining here. He's run 11 laps, or pardon me, he's run 10 laps clean so far, and he's only got half a lap remaining here on lap number 11 as we jump back to this little battle between Vogel and Fike, the battle for 4th position. And you can see Deacon Greenfield not all that far up ahead, sitting in 3rd, and I believe the last couple of laps they've been fairly close. Actually, the last time by Deacon Greenfield about a second faster than Fike and Vogel. Oh, but Greenfield having issues over at Oak Tree. We saw a lot of tire smoke in the air. Did he go off? And I think Greenfield did manage to gather the car back up and hold on as our winner, Caleb Patry, driver of the number 198 machine. He goes for the long ride through the grass. He's going to end up in the Dan River there soon enough. Coming home in 2nd is going to be Justin Huffman. And now coming down the front straight past the bend and taking home 3rd for the 2nd week in a row, Deacon Greenfield. Let's look at the battle for 4th, though, as we've got Jordy Fike and John Vogel nose to tail coming through Hogpen. On the very last lap, is Vogel going to be able to sneak by as they come down to that little kink in the track in the start-finish line? No. Jordy Fike, he's going to hold on, margin over John Vogel, 9/100ths of a second.
It was close. It was close. He almost got him. Good try. Good effort.
Yeah, it was very, very close there. So great run there by Caleb Patry, and really, really unfortunate for Owen Watts there with just a couple laps remaining. Watts is going to finish up in 11th position. Was not running at the end. We had 10 cars running at the end, and so we talked about Patry, Huffman, and Greenfield, your top 3. Fike and then Vogel. Josh Justice in the number 99 machine, he's going to finish 6th. Wayne Buttermore will finish 7th. John Casey, Joaquin Effinger, and your last running driver was Stephen Blethen in the number 150 machine. All right, so we've got a couple folks that are lined up and now in the waiting room. Let's do this. Let's bring in Deacon Greenfield. Deacon, for the 2nd week in a row, driver of the number 36 machine, coming home 2nd in Formula 4. All right, well, Deacon Greenfield, congratulations. That's your 2nd podium in 2 weeks here in Formula 4. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your race?
Yeah, it was a very consistent race. Really happy with that. I saw those two battling up ahead, and my goal was to. I knew I didn't have the pace they had, so my goal was to just stick the best line I could and wait for someone else to make a mistake.
So we were tracking on the very last lap. Dennis and I were tracking this battle between Jordy Fike and John Vogel, who were sitting 4th and 5th at the time. And on the very last lap, going into Oak Tree, we just saw huge puffs of smoke from you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what was going through your mind there with half a lap to go, knowing that you had 2 guys more or less breathing down your neck in that battle for the last step on the podium?
Oh, well, I felt pretty comfortable with the gap I had, so I thought just over slow for the big corners that I knew were more pressure intensive, so that way I could just bring it home.
All right, well, there you go, everybody. Deacon Greenfield. Deacon, you have anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank All Sports Racing, my parents, and you for being such a great mentor, Greg.
Thank you very much. All right, and I will see you at Labor Day. All right, Deacon Greenfield, congratulations on your podium, and I'm sure we'll see you in just a few moments for our 2nd race of the evening. All right, so now let's move over to Caleb Patry, driver of the number 198 machine and your winner tonight in Formula 4. Caleb, congratulations on your win this evening. Caleb, you there?
Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you, guys.
That's all right.
Forgot I had push to talk on.
That would definitely do it. So first off, congratulations on your win this evening, and a real tight battle. Certainly once the race started, but after Morgan dropped off, very, very close fight there with Owen. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Obviously, the start was really fun, kind of all three of us together. Then Morgan just kind of dropped a wheel off at the exit of a fast corner, and I checked up as best I could and swerved, but unfortunately I kind of tagged him, which sucks. But anyway, from that point out, it was really, really fun race there with Owen. He and I were pretty close throughout the entire track, and then we kind of used the straightaways to battle back and forth. And yeah, honestly, it could have been either of our race to win tonight, and unfortunately he just kind of got caught up in, looked like it was lap traffic, spun out, and I was just able to cruise from there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looked like we had some of that lap traffic spin around, and we, from our vantage point, it looked like you were probably able to sight it going into turn 3, and maybe with him right behind you, likely didn't see the car sitting there perpendicular to the track surface until it was a little bit too late. But congratulations on the win. We're trying to take a look here, and unfortunately, I don't have the points updated yet. I know coming into this evening's race, you were sitting 26 points back from Morgan in the championship. And I think with tonight's win, it would all depend on whether you picked up any bonus points or not, because you would have picked up 25 for the win. But I don't know if that got you up where you needed to be for the championship. I guess we'll know either by the end of the night or perhaps for the runoffs next week. But Caleb Patrick, congratulations on your win. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Well, certainly Steve Ray and everybody who puts these races on. Apex Racing TV for the awesome broadcast. And of course, all my teammates at Delta Sport for their support and their setup help.
All right, well, there you go, everybody. That was Caleb Patry, your winner tonight in Formula 4, and I'm sure we'll see him back also in just a few moments here for race number 2. So if you like what you're seeing here tonight, and of course we have one race remaining, please go ahead, give us that big thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to Apex Racing TV and click on that notification bell so you can find out about all the great motorsports action that we have for you during the week. And if you haven't done so, you can go find us on YouTube, or probably on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And if you just search for Apex Racing TV, go ahead and give us a follow. I think you'll like what you see. So Dennis and I, we're going to be back here in just a few moments for race number 2. You are watching the Summer Tour, season number 6 of the Ray Esports Racing League, live from Virginia International Raceway.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Coming in 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, and we are back here at Virginia International Raceway for the regular season finale of the Esports Racing League's not spring tour. I know it says the spring series there on the screen, but it is the summer tour, and that is season number 6. And I'm Greg Ginsberg along with Dennis Branch. And we're going to change pace a little bit from the Formula cars to perhaps the most well-known tin top series that you're going to find here in America, and that is Spec Miata. And we've got a large contingent of drivers on course, along with some folks that we haven't seen for a while here in the Esports Racing League. They are back with us. But before we do that, before we talk much about them, and we've got about 5.5 minutes left to go in qualifying, let's quickly do a recap of our final race in Spec Racer Ford. That was last week at Sonoma, where we had Morgan Burkhardt and Wan Chi Lin on the front row with Beans Forster, John Vogel, second row, John Wilson, Charles Vaccaro, your third row, and taking the win was Morgan Burkhardt. Margin of victory, 17 thousandths of a second in Spec Racer Ford over Wan Chi Lin. Lin was making up tons and tons of ground on the last 3 laps, just could not get close enough to affect the pass. Comes home in second, but as we'll find here in just a moment, second was good enough for Wan Chi. Beans Forster came home in third. He was only 35 hundredths of a second back from Burkhardt and Lin. Then we had John Vogel and John Wilson rounding out your top 5. And so if we take a look at now, and the regular season championship is done, it is decided in Spec Racer Ford. Wan Chi Lin, who was second in the point standings to John Vogel coming into last week's final Spec Racer Ford race, Wan Chi Lin pulls off the win, 90 points to him. John Vogel falls back into second with 87 points. Jordy Fike will finish third in the championship. He leapfrogs Josh Justice on that last race outing, and Morgan Burkhardt, who came into the evening 6th in the championship and took that final win. He comes out 5th with 80 points. And so now let's talk a little bit about the MX-5s. And they did not race last week at Sonoma. The last time we saw them was 2 weeks ago at Barber Motorsports Park down in Birmingham, where we had Caleb Patry and Wan Chi Lin on your front row. We had Greg Mack and Jordy Fike running on your second row. We had Josh Soto, who started all the way back in 11th position and worked his way all the way up into second, finished that race in second. Wan Chi Lin took the win, however, and as we take a look here, Charles Vaccaro came in third. Then we had John Vogel, Greg Mack, and then we had Sean Hayes. And essentially there was a little coming together between the two Team Esport Racer teammates, Greg Mack and Jordy Fike, when they were running second and third. But if we take a look at the point standings now, here in the MX5 Championship, it is currently Jordy Fike, your points leader. He's got a 5-point advantage over Morgan Burkhardt, who we just saw in the previous race, and Burkhardt currently qualified second here. Caleb Patry is only 3 points back from there in third. He's got 72 points and another 2 points back to Wan Chi Lin. And I'll tell you, it's not all that far back to fifth and sixth, as Beans Forster has 62 points and Deacon Greenfield has 61 points. So again, very tight, close racing here coming into our final race of the championship. And as you can see here, as they were 4 wide coming through Snake, going into the S's. Certainly not the fast way to set a qualifying time here. As looks like Morgan Burkhardt, it looks like Burkhardt's running a new paint job on his Spec Miata. Looks like his Honda CRX, and to show that paint job off, he decides to go sideways through South Bend, as the number 40 machine looks like it's going to go back to the pits and maybe make another run at it, as Morgan still has some time with about 2.5 minutes remaining on the clock here. If we take a look at the current standings here, your provisional pole sitter is Josh Soto with a fast time of a 2:08.24. Morgan Burkhardt, who was looking to improve upon that, he's going to have to try again. Currently running second fastest, rejoining us after some time away, and I think almost an entire season away. This, I believe, might be his first race of the season with us. Ryan Maloney, driver of the number 15 machine. Caleb Patry, currently fourth fastest. And a couple other folks that have come out to run with us here tonight, and oddly enough, they are all some of these folks. I don't want to say they're all folks from the Washington D.C. area, but a lot of them are. We saw Justin Huffman just a little while ago in the Formula 4 cars. His son Jameson is here with us tonight in the number 89 machine. There's Jameson, of course, a longtime stalwart in the Spec Miatas here in the Esports Racing League. Good to see him back after a couple weeks away. As we mentioned, we've got Ryan Maloney running with us. We also have David Stern, and I think David's back in the pits right now. David Stern, a Spec Miata driver from the Washington D.C. area. He is out with us this week as well. And I think we've got Tom Laurie, who's run with us before in the number 260 machine. He is out on track back with us, currently sitting 16th as the checkered flag. Now Dennis is out on the session. These last flying laps will count. Caleb Patry just turned his fastest lap of the session at a 2:08.94. He's looking to improve upon that. He does. He runs a 2:08.69. But all that's going to do, at least for the moment, is it's going to swap him with Ryan Maloney on row number 2. It's going to move Maloney from third to fourth. As we take a look here, it looks like Giancarlo Schooler having some issues coming out of Oak Tree, and he's going to abort that last lap. Deacon Greenfield having some issues there in the 36 machine as well, as we have just a few drivers remaining on track, including as we're watching here, Justin Huffman in the 223 machine. Justin looking to move up in the order. I'm sure would like 2 podiums in one evening, but he has some issues with South Bend, and that last lap is going to be disqualified. Looks like he's going to be mired down in the bottom third of the order.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because this track is easy to get off tracks. There's nothing but grass on the other side of that white line, and yeah, it's not difficult.
No, certainly not. As we're tracking now the 73 machine here on track. That is Wayne Buttermore, and Wayne is just trying to put in a lap time. He had not set a clean lap through all of qualifying, and I believe that is still the case. So it looks like Wayne Buttermore is gonna. Yeah, no time. Looks like he's going to start at the tail end of the field here this evening.
We'll get our grid up here in just a second.
Yeah, we'll get it in just a second. It looks like Jordy Fike just completed his last flying lap. Jordy Fike and Ray Blethen going to be swapping positions, and Fike moving up from the fifth row down to the fourth row, I believe. All right, so as we have our last drivers finishing up, and there you go. Looks like Buttermore getting, maybe trying to get a little bit of additional practice in. There's Ray Blethen as well in the 51 machine, and again Ray and Steven, the two twins, and both Mazda RX-8 drivers in the SCCA's Tuner 4, or not Tuner 4, but Touring 4 class. Getting my SCCA time trials and road racing classes mixed up here, but running in Touring 4, and both of these drivers last year at the National Championship runoffs in Indianapolis qualified very well. I believe Ray was on the pole and Steven was 2 positions back, and unfortunately both drivers got knocked out of the race early on, but they have been long-time tin top drivers. Actually started off driving 5-cylinder Audis years ago up in New England. Yeah. So, all right. So with qualifying complete and our drivers heading to the grid, let's take a look at the starting order for tonight's race. Josh Soto, driver of the number 07 machine. We'll see if he decides to start from the back of the pack this time. I doubt he will. He's going to start off on pole, with Morgan Burkhardt starting right next to him in the number 40 machine. That is your front row this evening. Caleb Patry, driver of the number 198 machine and our winner from race number 1. He's going to start third with Ryan Maloney in the number 15 machine, starting on the outside of row number 2. Then we've got Giancarlo Schooler in the 111 machine with a 221 of Charles Vaccaro starting right next to him in 6th. Row number 4 will be made up of Sean Hayes in that yellow and black number 94 machine. Jordy Fike moved up to 8th position on his last flying lap, and that put Ray Blethen back down into 9th in the number 51 machine with Deacon Greenfield starting in 10th. Then we've got Jamison Huffman starting 11th tonight with David Stern starting in 12th in the number 22 machine. Starting 13th tonight will be Kyle Vallejos with John Wilson starting right next to him in 14th. Justin Huffman in the 223 car. He's going to start 15th tonight with Greg Mack from Team Esports Racer right next to him in 16th. Then we've got Tom Laurie and John Casey. They are your drivers in row number 9. Row number 10, Stephen Blethen and Joaquin Effinger. And then rounding out our 21 car field, Wayne Buttermore driving the number 73 Spec Miata. And Dennis, let's take a look at our sponsor for tonight's second and final race of the evening, and that is Grassroots Motorsports Magazine. Built for the true sports car enthusiast, Grassroots Motorsports has one mission and one mission only: to be your personal guide to the sports car world. Whether it's online at grassrootsmotorsports.com, in print, or in person, the racers and builders, the car nerds at Grassroots Motorsports, take you behind the scenes and show you how to make your car better. Along the way, they'll give you a taste of everything else this hobby has to offer, from 1,000 horsepower track monsters to cool street cars built in driveways. They also maintain a collection of staff-built project cars, because hands-on technical articles, they're not typed behind a desk, they're scribbled down in the garage. And so to not only read but become part of the story, head on over to grassrootsmotorsports.com. And I was really hoping he was here for the first race of the season. I was hoping to have JG Pasterjack here with us tonight. We'll check in, and I'll reach out to JG. Hopefully he can join us for our runoffs next week, if not in the Spec Miatas in one of our other classes. He's definitely a guy who's got some great stories to tell.
The more the merrier.
Including a couple of weeks ago, he was at a track day with one of those Grassroots Motorsports project cars, and had oil leaking onto the header of the Toyota MR2 he was driving. And pulled the car over, and because there was smoke, because there was flame, because he inhaled half a bottle of a fire extinguisher, they took him to the local hospital right by Daytona International Speedway, and let's just say Florida man is alive and well.
Excellent, good to know.
Yeah, and being a great writer. JG was very colorful in describing his surroundings on that Thursday evening. Anyway, so hopefully we'll get a bit and we'll get a chance to talk to him next week. All right, so we've got our drivers coming out of Oak Tree now onto the back straight. And Dennis, I just wanted to point this out as we're watching these drivers not girded up all that well here on the back straight, but they've got some time. Morgan Burkhardt, as I mentioned, he's got his Spec Miata there painted in the same livery as his Honda CRX, and I don't know if we'll be able to pick up his quarter panels or not. But much like his Honda CRX, it has a little shout out, a little advertisement to one of his sponsors, Spicoli and Sons TV Repair. Spicoli and Sons TV Repair, and I only mention that. And you know, his father put that on the CRX years ago, but because this is the 40th anniversary, there you go, now we can see it. It is the 40th anniversary of the release of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and Jeff Spicoli was still one of my heroes to this day.
A true American classic, if there ever was one.
Yes,
right up there with
yes,
Gone with the Wind. I tell you what.
Gone with the Wind and the Blues Brothers and Animal House.
And
exactly.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And maybe I'll throw Caddyshack in there too. All right, so the pace car now has the field onto the front straight, and it makes that hard right turn. And you know, I've never seen. Oh, and we have a wreck on the front straight already, and it looks like Caleb Patry might have gotten the chrome horn before this race ever starts. Green flag is in the air, and is Josh Soto to the inside, driver's right, Morgan Burkhardt to driver's left, Ryan Maloney in the blue and white number 15 right behind him, and then we've got Charles Vaccaro and Jordy Fike as Giancarlo Schooler and Jamison Huffman along with Deacon Greenfield. But wow, looks like Caleb Patry now falls all the way back to 17th position. He makes his way around Greg Mack, who passes him back, but as they say, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Did not get to the green flag before that wreck. And we'll track him, and if it's possible to see that incident. Going off now, that is Stephen. No, that isn't Stephen Blethen.
That was Charles Vaccaro, I think.
Vaccaro in the 221 machine.
Ooh, we've got a bunch of guys down.
Yeah, we've got the 51 of Ray Blethen on his roof. We had, I think that was David Stern in the 22 car, also on his roof. That you don't see very often. And I think we also had another car near there as well, and I think it might have been Stephen Blethen.
Yep, I think you're right.
In the back. Yeah, we're gonna have to jump back and take a look at a couple of incidents here. But first, we're going to track here as our drivers make their way onto the back straight for the very first time. Josh Soto and Morgan Burkhardt, your two leaders, with Ryan Maloney very close. And you can see as Soto makes that quick little move to hold off Burkhardt's attack on the very first lap. I'll bet, and we've seen this movie before, Dennis. Speaking of Fast Times, that Burkhardt, I think, knows that the draft being so strong here in the Spec Miatas on the back straight, he may wait until the very end of this race. But we're only 2 minutes into the 20-minute battle, so we'll give them a little time. Can we jump back and see some of the?
Yeah, let's see if we can get that.
All right, so let's take a look and see what happened to Blethen. And it looks like, we had Vaccaro go off. We had Blethen get into.
And Vaccaro just went off all on his own. These guys, yeah. Let's let's get another look at that from the chopper.
Yeah, as the 51 car got loose, and he got into one other car. And I'm trying to track down who that's the car, I think, trailing right behind Blethen. as he comes to the inside, and when Blethyn came across the curbing, he got him. And then we see the 22 and then also the 223 car involved. So there was one other driver that was involved, and I think it was John Casey, but I'm not 100% positive there.
I'm not seeing anything from John, no.
Yeah, maybe not. All right, well,
let's take a look at that incident with Caleb at the beginning of the, because that was just weird.
Let's go back and let's take a look here on this was on the pace lap.
This is before the green flag.
And
this guy Giancarlo right behind him. Giancarlo is ready to go, and he's just pushing him. It's too soon.
Yeah,
Caleb wasn't on throttle,
and he just got he got pitted right into the wall, and so now that driver, Caleb Patry, he's back up in the 9th position, so he's making a good run at it. As we check now back to our top 3 with Soto, with Ryan Maloney, and Morgan Burkhardt. And I said that Burkhardt might wait until the very end to try and make a move on Josh Soto. I didn't say anything about Ryan Maloney in that blue and white number 15, because he is definitely pushing the issue.
He did not read the playbill. He does not know how this goes.
Certainly
he's
not.
Ready to race.
Yeah, he's not waiting until act number 3 in order to start this battle. And a little bit further back, great fight going on with Fike, Huffman, Jamison Huffman, and Giancarlo Schooler. And we'll see. It looks like Schooler's loosening up his teammate, the 89 car. That might be two teammates that Schooler
a little too much pushing, almost.
Yeah. And now Schooler can't pick a car because he's got both Fike and Huffman side by side as they come through NASCAR.
Yeah, and he's looking impatient. He wants to get by. Definitely wants to get by.
And you can see now. Look at this, late on the brakes, going in the left hook as Schooler is able to get underneath Jordy Fike, and Fike is going to end up having to concede the position finally as they come through turn 5 and head in the snake. Now that did give Huffman a little bit of breathing room, but what was a 3-car battle has now turned into a 4-car battle, because it's brought both Deacon Greenfield and Sean Hayes into this fight as well.
Yeah, and he lost touch with Huffman. He's, like you said, he lost a good second there battling with Jordy.
Well, we'll see here, because Schooler, the pace is deceptive when you're the 3rd car sitting back behind 2 drivers that are racing side by side. It certainly makes you look a little faster because it's a big giant hole in the air. We'll see what Schooler can do now, and see if he can actually make up some ground on the number 89 machine of Huffman, currently running in 4th, as we're now 3 wide, coming down the back straight, going into turn 13, and Burkhardt for the moment is going to take over the lead, as we now have Josh Soto sitting back in 2nd. Ryan Maloney, who tried coming all the way down the inside, he's going to fall back into 3rd.
Yeah, these 3 are just playing leapfrog right now. They're just going back and forth, running really quick laps. They're the only 3 on track in the 208s.
Yeah, the 2 of them are running almost 3/4 of a second faster than Jamison Huffman, and part of that, I think, is the draft, as Huffman is now kind of sitting out in Nowheresville as a bit of a bridge. We'll see if these drivers now can move up to him. Of course, the way they're fighting, I don't know if that's going to happen. As Schooler now,
we have Jordy and Deacon had both gotten past Giancarlo. Now he's got back around Deacon, but he lost. We didn't see it, but he must have lost it on that back straight. I'm guessing.
The back straight, exactly, under the draft here, and so now we know that even if you get a good jump out of Oak Tree,
you got to really get yourself a gap. Yeah, otherwise you're in the weeds.
Exactly. All right, so let's jump back over to the lead here, and Morgan Burkhardt now opens up about a 3/4 of a second advantage over Josh Soto and over Ryan Maloney, and that may be, as we can see here, Maloney certainly from the get-go was the more aggressive of the 3 drivers here, and he is definitely tossing the car around and perhaps fill in the mirrors of Soto just a little bit. I think some of that's going to close up again as they come onto the back straight here.
Yeah, and we're just going to watch it happen. He just gets sucked right in. It's the cool thing about racing these cars.
Yeah, and so even with the, over half a second, almost 7/10 of a second advantage coming out of Oak Tree, I think we're going to see Soto and Maloney be able to draft back up. They're not going to be able to get close enough to go 3 wide down in the 13, but they should be able to at least get back onto the bumper of the number 40 machine.
These two are still going at it. Great little scrap.
Here we go, and this is, again, the battle for 5th with Jordy Fike, Giancarlo Schooler, Deacon Greenfield, and Sean Hayes. And it looks like Fike and Schooler have opened up a bit of a gap back to Greenfield and Hayes. And Schooler, once again, I think, given the chrome horn,
he's definitely doing a lot of pushing.
Yeah,
this entire race. Sometimes it works.
Yeah, but it's
and sometimes it doesn't, though. That's the problem.
No, I mean it's amazing to see how loose Fike got. Schooler's getting off long before the braking zone. But he was squared up on the 09 machine, and just you still see the back end of the car move around a little bit as they come out of 5 and going in the snake. And Schooler, is looking. He made that pass earlier on Fike going in the left hook, and there we go. Here's another tap
or push.
Yeah, coming into the S is certainly not the place.
No.
You want the trailing car to give you a love tap. But you can see here how both Greenfield and also Hayes have made up ground as we just see some sparks fly off.
That was Giancarlo blinking out of existence. This was the problem. Yeah. So he's having some internet connectivity issues, and hopefully that won't cause any issues. It's really tough racing with somebody who's blinking.
Oh gosh,
you just don't know where they're going to be. So you have to back off.
All right, so we are halfway through this 20-minute race, and your leader Morgan Burkhardt in the number 40 Spec Miata with Ryan Maloney and Josh Soto rounding out your top 3 with a little bit over a second back to the 89 car. And truth be told, Dennis, I'm a little surprised to see Jamison Huffman running this far back from the leaders. And again, he doesn't have the benefit of the draft right now. He is running in the 208s. He's actually running slightly faster than our top 3, but still a long way to go without the draft to be able to work your way up. Oh, going for the long ride, Tom Laurie in that purple number 260 machine, and he comes through South Bend, and that is so easy to do.
Nothing but net.
Yeah, if you turn in just a little bit early going into South Bend, you're going to go for that long ride. And good recovery there. Thankfully, one of the advantages of VIR, this is after we saw multiple cars go into a tire wall and end up on their roofs, mind you. But most of VIR, if you go off track, there's a long way to go through the grass.
To run off, yeah.
Yeah, it's so unlikely to hit something unless you're right here.
Let's jump back up to the leaders.
All right, here we go. With both Soto and Maloney making some headway on Burkhardt as they come through South Bend, and Soto now drops a wheel coming out of South Bend. Is Maloney going to shove the car underneath? No, he does not. He's going to follow Soto out of Oak Tree and onto the back straight. Wouldn't have made a lot of sense there. I mean, you don't typically see a ton of passing at Oak Tree. It is a slower
it's nothing to
corner,
gain, exactly. You just ruin your run.
Right, and everything to lose in exit speed and speed at the end of this long straightaway. As Maloney tries to give the 07 machine a little bit of a tap and get him a little closer to Burkhardt as they come up to the top of the roller coaster.
There goes...
oh yeah, there he is again.
Freaking out.
And we see him just like disappearing and reappearing. To Maloney, it looks like, you know, he's on a trampoline bouncing up and down.
Yeah, sometimes you do that. Yeah, that's disconcerting, I tell you.
Yeah, when you think you're going to drive underneath the car in front of you.
I've driven underneath cars and made it, and you know, so the net code giveth and it taketh away.
Taketh away. All right, coming down the inside.
Giancarlo went off, so he had
yes, he did.
He had another problem.
Yeah,
See
so
if we can
Schooler
take a look
now
at that.
in the pits. He's going to join the two Blethen brothers in the pit lane. Let's take a look as they come onto the front straight. And Schooler all the way to the inside.
Now breaks himself, gets in.
And did he have a problem rejoining, maybe?
I don't know. It's a weird one.
I think that.
Or did he just
Schooler-
figure, hey, listen, nothing I can do.
Yeah, if he's
In
dealing
6 minutes,
with the,
so.
Yeah, exactly. You know, maybe he's dealing with the Murphy Nichols School of Internet Connectivity, and
Oh man, that's the worst.
Decided to call it an evening. Yeah, it's gotta be rough. All right, looks like Stephen Blethen now coming back out of the pits after getting his repairs done in the 150 machine. His brother Ray, who spent some time on the roof, still there in the pits as our leaders now are working lap number 7.
Sean Hayes was a little off, but like you said, plenty of room to come back on the track. That is one thing about this course.
Yeah, absolutely. And so look who's part of that little grouping now. We lost Giancarlo Schooler, but we gained Caleb Patry,
Yep.
who is now up into 7th position after having dropped all the way back, I believe, to 19th here. And looking down the inside, or I guess it's actually the outside as you come up to 14, of Deacon Greenfield.
These S's, they're tough. When you go in side by side, that's when the net code can creep in. Anytime you've got two cars going side by side through relatively quick corners, yeah, that's asking for it. But you made it work.
Yeah, they made it work that time
Well done.
through. And good pass there by Patry as we jump back to our leaders.
3
Josh
wide.
Soto. Oh my gosh, coming down in the 1. Soto tries to split the difference. Maloney was in the lead heading in. He is our leader now. Morgan Burkhardt, who thinks taking the grass over to the grill might be the fast way around. But now coming through turn 3, Maloney to driver's right, Soto to driver's left, with Burkhardt bottled up behind him. And Burkhardt's going to try to shove the car underneath the 07 machine, coming through left hook and into Snake. Great fighting. This
Awesome.
is,
Awesome stuff.
But between the first race in Formula 4 up in that battle for the lead and what we're seeing here, some wonderful racing here tonight. And with the exception of some of the bump drafting, no contact as those drivers were door to door going through some of those very quick switchbacks. And so now Ryan Maloney takes the point. He has about a 4500th of a second advantage now over Josh Soto.
Ooh, but he gets a bad exit.
Yeah, he came into Oak Tree very, very hot.
Yep.
And Burkhardt was able to pull right up behind him. We'll see if Burkhardt considers moving to the inside, or if he's going to try, I think at this point, might try to push Soto back up to Maloney.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. They're just trying to catch up, and they did. They're there.
Oh, and that's a sign. That's Burkhardt picking the wrong horse as Soto dropped the wheel into the grass, and Burkhardt had to check up for him. If he had moved to the right, he'd probably have the position here as they come out of Hog Pen onto the front straight. Again, Maloney, Soto, Burkhardt, and a little bit further back, Jamison Huffman now 2.8 seconds back, not making up the ground he was earlier, as now we've got side-by-side Soto, driver's left, Maloney, driver's right, and you saw that, and Dennis, that's a great shot, that overhead shot. You could see where Burkhardt still drafted right up to the back of Maloney and had to jump on the binders.
Yeah, he thought about it, but there was just no room. He would have been in the grass for sure. Just like that. Huh.
Yeah, exactly.
Get after it. Jordy's having an issue.
Yeah, looks like Fike is off over at turn 3. Oh, and I'm having flashbacks of Burkhardt and Patry going side by side through the S's here a season ago. And I think they were in the RE2 Formula cars, not in the Miatas when they both got together. But both of these drivers are clean. Oh, Maloney goes off coming out of South Bend.
Big off.
But we've seen this so many times in these cars. If you go off at South Bend, as long as you straighten the wheel up, the track pretty much comes back to you. And you don't lose a ton of momentum that you can pretty much get back up the speed and carry through the through Oak Tree.
And in these cars,
yeah,
these cars, I was just gonna say, you probably keep your foot in it. Probably didn't even need to lift.
No, probably not. As Soto now moves to the inside, Maloney goes to cover, and Burkhardt just keeps the car drivers right, and he's able to sneak by Soto, so move him up to second. And I think what happened there is Soto went over to make the move on Maloney, realizing that Soto was going to have to get on the brakes a little early. Burkhardt just
This should
kept
be
the
white
drivers.
flag.
Yeah, let's take a look, because we're 19:25 in, and indeed,
There it is.
there we go. White flag is in the air. Last lap here from Virginia International Raceway, as Morgan Burkhardt and Ryan Maloney now side by side going into one. Maloney a little bit later on the brakes. Burkhardt has to move over to cover on Soto, but in doing so loses a little bit of ground. Burkhardt looks to the inside just for a moment there, going in the left hook.
Yeah, he
Gets
knows
back
this is
behind
this is
15.
going to get done down that back straight. This is where it's
Yeah,
going to
exactly.
happen.
It's not going to get done right here. You don't want to be in the lead.
Yeah, he needs to stay right
Here.
where he's at. Josh might even be in a good position. He's a little far back, but
Yeah, we'll see what kind of run he can get out of Oak Tree. But we'll see, as you see here in this little section, this is usually up through the S's and going into South Bend. A bit of a compression, and Josh Soto indeed closes up a little bit closer onto Morgan Burkhardt. This time, going through South Bend, Maloney manages to keep all four wheels on the pavement. And as they come onto the back straight for the last time, Maloney there trying to break the draft. I don't think that's going to do it, but it might have been enough.
he's got a pretty decent little gap. Morgan just got a bad drive out of the out of Oak Tree.
The one time he needed a good run, he didn't get it, but he's going to move down to the inside anyhow on Maloney. That may give a little bit of cover to Josh Soto, but coming back across the apex just in time to hold off the 07 car. Burkhardt holds on to second. Maloney's going to be your leader coming down through the roller coaster. And so now with only one corner remaining, coming through turn 17 in Hogpen, coming onto the front straight, Burkhardt's going to try and draft by the number 15 machine, and it is going to be close as they come to the line. It looks like Burkhardt may have him. And Morgan Burkhardt takes the win by 1/100th of a second over Ryan Maloney. Josh Soto, he's going to finish in third. Jamison Huffman will finish fourth. Caleb Patry, great recovery run for him. He works his way all the way back up to fifth. Sean Hayes will come home in sixth. Then we've got Jordy Fike, Deacon Greenfield. You just see there that great little battle for ninth position as Greg Mack holds off did I say Justin Wilson? John Wilson, wrong racer. John Wilson rounding out the top 10. So
good stuff.
Yeah, very, very good finish, nice finish from these racers. And you know, we always see that draft and the attempt to slingshot past at Road America, for example, where you've got such a long run. You know, you typically, is the two teammates, Jameson and Burkhardt, to get together. You know, you don't typically see that at VIR, but Burkhardt just got such a great run down the hill, and there was really nothing that.
And I thought he was done
do.
when he didn't get him. At the end of the back straight, I thought, well, that's it. Well done.
There you go. And so it looks as though this year Caleb Patry, who was our season 5 winner, not going to repeat. And I believe we'll have to see here. I believe by nature of his win this evening, Morgan Burkhardt, who came into the evening 5 points back from Jordy Fike, I think he may have turned in enough points to take the championship in Spec Miata. So let's do this. We've got Morgan sitting in the green room. Let's bring him on board. Morgan Burkhardt, congratulations on your win this evening.
Thank you very much.
So going into that, before we get to the last lap, let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about strategy going into the evening, knowing that you were starting off on the front row next to Josh Soto, who had run such a strong race a couple weeks ago at Barber, and also knowing and you've seen Ryan Maloney race in real life in his Spec Miata, knowing what kind of racers both Josh and Ryan are. What was your strategy here starting the evening off?
You see, Greg, that's a really good question. I wish I knew the answer to that. Other than to just kind of like stay there and see what happens. I didn't really have one.
Well, and Dennis and I were obviously, thinking, you're going to wait till the very last lap to make the move and make the run up into the top of the roller coaster. It didn't appear as though you got the run that you wanted on the very last lap, and maybe had to cover Soto just a little bit as well. As you came down out of Oak Tree, or probably not out of Oak Tree, pardon me, out of Hog Pen onto the front straight, did you think that you had the pace to be able to draft past the 15 car and take the win? Obviously, you did.
Well, I had noticed all race that when I was behind him, I was getting really good runs out of Hog Pen, whereas Josh and Ryan weren't. So
Okay.
I knew if I could kind of get close enough so that I wouldn't run him over on the exit of the corner and have enough to get there in before the line, I kind of somehow timed it really well and got the run out and managed to side draft right on by him.
That is exactly what we saw here, and a great finish to a wonderful race. And again, we don't have the final tabulation on the points, Morgan, but I believe, given that you were 5 points out of the lead coming into tonight's race, and with Jordy's finish this evening back in 7th position, I think you might have made up the 5 points that you needed to take home the championship. So I'm not going to say that officially as of yet, but assuming that is the case, I wanted to congratulate you on another championship here in the Ray Esports Racing League.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Appreciate
and one last thing before you go, congratulate your father and your sponsor, Spicoli and Sons, on their 40th anniversary of being in business here. So
I will give them a shout.
Yeah, definitely. Spicoli and Sons for 40 years have been the best TV repair service ever. All right, so Morgan Burkhardt, congratulations on your win, and I'm sure that we will see you next week for the runoffs at your home track.
You will indeed.
All right, everybody, that's Morgan Burkhardt, our winner tonight and regular season champion. Going to go out on a limb and say that in Spec Miata here for season 6 of the Ray Esports Racing League. And so kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit here, Dennis. We do have, although this was our final regular season event of the year, we do have the Ray Esports runoffs next week, next Tuesday night.
Yes, absolutely.
And if I remember correctly, it's usually the case. I'm gonna go out on a limb once again. I believe we have an earlier start time.
We
next
usually
week.
do. It's usually 1 hour earlier.
Exactly. So we're gonna start up next Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time, from Morgan Burkhardt's home track from Summit Point Raceway. This may be the very first championship, other than the Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series, that Summit Point has hosted in a very long time. And I can tell you, there were a lot of drivers out here tonight that call Summit Point their home track. So I'm expecting a really good turnout, at least in Spec Miata. But we are going to have all three of our classes. We're going to have Spec Miata, we're going to have the Formula 4s, and we are going to have the Spec Racer Fords, all three of them in one place for a slightly extended race, 25 minutes for each. And it should be a night of wonderful racing from my home track. And heck, I might even critique some drivers' lines.
Why not?
As they drive Summit, of course, they're.
We'll get Kevin Ford over here, and you guys can do it together.
That's As a matter of fact, we might have to play Kevin Ford's track guide.
Sure.
I'll have to see if we can get permission from him, so that Tim, and hopefully Tim Cox will be back next week, that we can critique Kevin. All right, so for Dennis Branch, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and if you haven't done so, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up on YouTube. I know we put so much work into giving this and bringing this great racing to you all, and our drivers definitely appreciate it, and definitely appreciate the more views that they can get. So tell your friends about Apex Racing TV. Tell them to subscribe and click on that notification bell, and we will see you next week from beautiful Summit Point, West Virginia, Summit Point Motorsports Park. Have a great week, everybody.